Buenas tardes, ¿cómo estás? And welcome to episode 67 of my Wurm Unlimited tutorial series. This episode is going to be on the two new tools that are being introduced with us slowly etching towards the leatherworking episode. I am sorry, I did say that we were going to start making this item on this episode that I want to make and have the competition for, but of course silly me forgot that two new tools are going to be required in leatherworking, and so because I believe that the indexing is better for new players if I proceed how they would have to proceed, so they have to make their tools first, then they can get onto leatherwork. And as you can see, we started with the coal pile thrash, then we went on to lie, then we went on to making the leather. It's a slow progression, purposely. I mean, for you can all go a million miles an hour if you want, but for this series, slow but sure, stepping through the different skills. So this episode, once again, my apologies, it's not what I wanted it to be, but it will hopefully be the next episode. Anyway, I'll get to that. Thank you to those of you that have shared changes that you have noticed from the last update in the comments. I appreciate that. That's helping everybody else with what they may not have noticed, so thank you very much for that. Thank you to all of you that have subscribed. 900 wonderful people, without which these episodes would have stopped long ago. So thank you very much for all of your support. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so enough of my dilly-dallying. Let's start on making these two new tools. Now, first up, we're going to make an awl. So, okay, for this, note, both of these tools that we're about to make are used through blacksmithing, so the wood is not going to be an issue. Okay, let's get started then. So let's check our forge is still in good condition. Yep, so the forge is good. You can see I've been somewhat prepared. We have our iron in the forge. What we're going to need to make we're going to need, like some of the other tools, we need to make the blade first, then we can actually make the tool itself. For making the blade, we will need a small anvil and an iron lump in our inventory. So I've got the small anvil, as you can see. I'm now going to, let's grab the iron. Let's combine it. Okay, so we've got the iron and we've got the small anvil. Let's now make our small mule. Not. Oh wow. Right, okay, let's add that to the recipe, to the crafting window. Let's minimize that because it's a pain. Okay, so now we need to find the awl blade, which will be here, I should think, under tool parts. There we go, awl blade. Yep, my blacksmithing is doing really good, so let's find it. Where is my smithing? There we go. So you'll notice the skill go up, and yeah, it's not too shabby. Right, let's now create. Okay, great. We've got our awl blade. So we aren't going to put these components back yet because we need them still for in a minute. Right, okay, so we've done the blade. Now we can make the actual tool. For that, you will need a wooden handle and the blade we just made. So I have handles and I have the blade, so let's add the awl to the crafting window. There we go, still a good high percentage. Let's create our first new tool. Yep, typical, we failed, but it doesn't matter. Skills going up. Right, there we go, great. We have ourselves an awl. Now, what I'm going to do, obviously, is stick these in the forge. as I make them, because the quality level you can see there is just not any good to us. Okay, not at the stage you're at now. So we will be getting that to, let's see, because it's blacksmithing, we will get it to the same as our other tools. 50 is a good round quality level. So we're going to get the awl, not in this, I'm going to do it off camera, don't worry, but for those of you out there that are going to be doing leatherworking, trying it for the first time, you're going to love it, but get your awl to quality level 50 if you can. Right, okay, so that is the awl. Let's now have a look at what we're going to do next. Oh yeah, let's just give you the description of the awl. This is from the Wurmpedia. A thin pointy blade on a shaft, used to make small holes. Usage, used to improve leather items by punching holes in them. Yeah, that does sound a bit funny, but that's what it says. Oh, excuse me, that must have been a bit of dust in the air. Right, okay, so that's that out of the way. Let's move on, and now it's time to make a new kind of knife. We have two that you've been using so far, carving knife and butchering knife. Time for another knife. Time to introduce the leather knife. So let's make the leather knife. So what we'll do in the recipe window, let's type in leather and then knife. Yep, that works. Always good when it works. Okay, so we're going to need the blade first, and then we can assemble the knife. So it will just be the leather knife blade and the handle. So let's find the right one, because we want iron. There we go, there's the iron. So again, small anvil iron lump, which we have in the pocket, so I will add that to the crafting window. Okay, now we need to find it under tool parts, so leather knife blade, that's what we need, and we will create. Remember, the blades, you will notice, are using the bladesmithing skill. Okay, I forgot to mention that about the awl, because it would have used the same, the bladesmithing. That's why that's green, because when we made the awl blade, it used it. So let's create the leather knife blade anyway, and you'll see it turns green again. There you go. See, so you are using a difficult skill to make this blade, so don't be too concerned if you fail lots, because this is one of the slowest skill trees in the game to get up. Okay, but we have our blade nonetheless. Right, so we finished with our small anvil. Let's put that back in the forge. I'm going to put the iron in the forge simply because off camera I'm going to be imping these new tools. You, however, after that last update, could just throw the iron straight back in the BSB. But I like I say, I want to keep mine hot so I can imp after this episode's finished. Okay, so we have the blade, we have the handle. Let's now go down here and add the leather knife to the crafting window. There we go, there's our leather knife. Let's whack that to 4. Let's try and create. And there we go, there is our leather knife. Let's put that in the forge, so that's ready for improving. Okay, so description of the leather knife. A very short and sharp curved blade on a shaft, used to carve in leather. Usage, used to improve leather items by cutting away excess leather. Right, I want to finish this short episode by listing the 5 tools that you are going to need for leatherworking, which we will be using in the next episode, and we will be creating one of my favourite items to create, and we'll be starting the new competition. Okay, the 5 tools that you will need in leatherworking are as follows. Needle, which we made in the blacksmithing. Mallet, the wooden mallet. A piece of leather, which we made in the last episode. Remember, has to be a minimum of 3 kilograms. What I would get into the habit of doing is, like I did, bunching together about 10 of them so you don't run out. Although remember, when improving, you use only a tiny little bit amount of leather. When you create an item using the leather, then you use a chunk of it, depending on what you're making. But anyway, as a tool, which is what I'm reading here, the needle, mallet, leather, and then of course the 2 tools we've just made, awl and leather knife. That's the 5 tools you're going to need. So get some leather together so you're all prepared. Make sure you can find your needle, your mallet, and imp up your awl and leather knife. Get them to hopefully 50. Finally, we are ready to make a glorious item that will make the game even better. But that's the next episode, and it's a good one. Wherever you are in the world, God bless you and keep every single last one of you safe. Have a fantastic day, and thank you for joining me. Goodbye.